Hi there. How you doing? This is impromptu. Usually I'm behind the camera, not in front of the camera. But something happened here in Germany a couple days ago that I wanted to share with you. So, as many of you know, we were supposed to be moving from Germany back to the States sometime this summer. But then COVID happened. So we're ending up staying a little bit longer or a lot longer. At this point, who knows? But a couple days ago, I was stopped randomly at a checkpoint by the police eye. And when he came out, I just pulled over. Didn't even second guess it. He came up. He was so polite. He said, "Ma'am, hi. How?" He started talking German, and I said, "The English," and he was like, "Oh, hi." He says, "Can I have your license?" I gave him your license. He said, "Thank you so much for giving me your license." He checked the license. He says, "Have you been drinking today?" I said, "No, sir." He says, "Okay." I said, "Is there a reason why I was stopped?" He says, "Oh, no, it's just a random checkpoint. Sorry for the inconvenience. We just have to do these every so often." I said, "Thank you so much." He says, "You're American." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he says, "I have seen what has happened in America. And I am so saddened that police and civilians do not live in harmony." And when he said that, my heart just fluttered and tears filled my eyes. This is a German police officer saying this to a Afro-Jamaican person. And I thought about it and I said, wow, we are in serious times. They have a lot of protests here. They had protests going on during that period when I was stopped. So I don't know. I can't say that was part of it. I wasn't near the protest. But the world has protests. Norway has protests. Syria has protests. Germany has protests. Everybody has protests that something needs to change. And that is my issue, where I came all the way from behind the camera to say, we all know the problem. It has been a systemic problem since Amadou Diallo how many years ago. It has been a problem since Ahmad. It was a problem with Trayvon. We all know the problem. Let's start on trying to work towards the solution, people. What is the solution? Do I have the solution? No, I don't have the solution. I can't even pretend to say, oh, yeah, I might have a solution. No, I don't. Absolutely not. But what I do know is that we're going to start to need to have some really hard conversations. All of us have to come to the table and have some really hard conversations. And we're going to have to start to unlearn some things that we have been conditioned with all our lives. Okay? And I'm not just talking Afro-Americans. I'm talking non-African Americans. I'm talking Caribbeans. I'm talking everybody. We have to start to unlearn some things. And we have to come to the table and have a discussion with somebody who doesn't look like you and say, listen, this is a problem. You don't see it like a problem because you haven't experienced it. I have experienced it. This is what I experienced. How can we go about this? No, I'm not saying all cops are bad, because I have a brother from another mother, T. T was a cop extraordinaire. He's retired now. But while he was on the force, he displayed professionalism. He went out with the utmost of dignity and respect and treated people with dignity and respect. And it can happen. But you know what made it kind of different? In my opinion. This is just in my opinion. T came from New York. And he was policing the streets of New York. So, when he met up with the different characters and the different cultural backgrounds of New York, there was not that fear because he grew up around them. So a part of what I think is the problem is that we need more community policing, as in people from the communities come back and police the communities that they grew up in. Make sense? Because, as I said, I've had good experiences with officers. I've had bad experience with officers. Do I take that and brush all officers and say all officers are bad? Absolutely not. However, those traumatic experiences that I have had with police officers, those I remember. And I remember looking in that man's face, and as scared as I was, and my anxiety was on a 60, I could look into his face and his eyes and see that he was just as scared as me. Right? So I had to make the effort. And I know people are like, well, you shouldn't have to make the effort. However, I had to make the effort to block my Jamaican accent, speak slowly and speak clearly, and slow down my reactions and, answer him directly. And then when he saw that, he kind of backed off. Okay? I have a black son. Do I worry every day? Absolutely, because he still lives in the States. I worry every day. But I got to the point of saying I can't live in worry every day. My main thing now is that we all need to come together and have some sort of solution where when I come back to the States, whether I visit or I live, I should be able to see them blue lights go on behind my car and not have that intense fear of, oh my God, what? Even though I'm not doing anything wrong, I shouldn't have that fear. Let's start from there. Let's have a discussion. Because I have smaller children, and I don't want, when my daughters decide to start driving, that they see that blue light and it's fear. I don't want that. So we know the problem. We know part of it is racism. We know part of it is, ingrown from years and years of oppression and the unknown. What can we do to fix it? What? Rioting and looting Gucci and Chanel and Prada and Macy's and Target, that's not doing it. Because you know what people remember? They're not going to remember why it was happening. They're going to remember that, oh, those people, no. And I know some people are like, well, we need to get their attention. Let's find a better way, people. Let's do. Because as I said, there are good police officers out there that stand and defend us every day, whether they be black, white, yellow, green, pink, purple. They stand with us. Let's not group all policemen in the same grouping. There are some bad apples. Let's find the bad apples. Let's get rid of the bad apples. Or let's retrain the bad apples. Because when you get a Midwestern boy or somebody who has not grown up around, let's say, because I lived in Brooklyn for so many years, let's say Flatbush. And you get this boy and you put him in the middle of Flatbush with all the different accents and all the different cultural differences. And he has to stop somebody, and they see these things on the television, and they have their predisposed notions about what is about to happen. And you, as an officer, you hear this guy come in with a deep Jamaican accent or a deep Guyanese accent. And Caribbean people are animated when they talk, and they tend to talk loudly, and he's like, oh, this guy's getting aggressive, and then it just goes downhill from there. I would love to have more police officers like my brother T, who grew up in New York, who was raised in the streets of New York. So when he comes among that, he says, oh, he's not being aggressive. He's just trying to explain what's happening. But that's the way some Caribbean people are expressive. And then they take it from there. Come on. Let's come together and have a discussion on how we can change this, so it doesn't have to happen again. I'm begging. See, I come here, I put on a little lip gloss. That's all I could manage today, but it's the bare minimums. But let's come together. Let's not have another little girl crying for her father who's been murdered in the streets. Let's not have another mother who's crying because her son got shot in a neighborhood he wasn't supposed to be in. Let's not have another set of parents crying because their son was sitting or standing on a stoop and get shot 40 times because things were yelled at him and he didn't understand, and he was paralyzed in fear and he didn't know what to do. Let's work on a solution. Do I have the solution? Absolutely not. I'm like you. However, I put forth that we need to have discussions. And if we can't have a broad discussion, let's start with people who are in our immediate circle. Let's have a discussion, a candid discussion. And you know what? You might find out some stuff you don't necessarily like. But guess what? It's okay to disagree. But in that discussion, you might learn some stuff from their point of view that you didn't know. And they might learn some stuff from your point of view that absolutely they have never, ever, ever experienced in their life. And it might start changing the perception of the whole reality of people. Come on, people. Let's do better. Let's strive to solutions now. Protests are good. It gets people's attention. But let's go further towards solutions. That's my 5 cents on D Does today. Like, comment, subscribe. Find me on all my platforms. As I said, it's impromptu. I'm always behind the camera. You've never really seen me. But I think it's important that some of us vloggers come out and address this. Like, come on, people. Black, white, yellow, pink. Let's do something different. I've lived in 4 countries today. And I have seen different when it comes to police officers. So it does happen. It can happen. Let's move towards making it happen. Thank you. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the comments.